several things that we've talked about. One is the biometric information validating this is the person standing in front of me that I also have the document for. Do we have any way to be able to track a number or a guess of how many people would try to come through and have a document that's false?
So for Visa waiver travelers, last year it was about 0.02%.
So give me an idea of what number that is.
So it's 476.
Okay. It's pretty good off the top of your head.
I got it written down.
Yeah.
476.
Where we had biometric hits on them.
Where that
Zero
person
for
standing in,
national security. This is upon arrival. In the
right,
US.
upon arrival, they arrive, they're showing you a document. and
None
you
were for
say,
national
"This
security.
is
They
not-"
were all for immigration admissibility issues in relation to the entering under the Visa Waiver Program. But none were for national security reasons.
Okay. So the question is then, we caught it there at entry for all of those, or where are we picking that up?
Yes, that was upon entry, upon arrival in the U.S.
That's based on facial recognition, I would assume, that we have, looking at the passport and what we see and taking their photo as well.
It's based upon us interviewing the passenger, reviewing the passport, reading the passport in our database, performing the system queries on that, taking those fingerprints and comparing them against the information on those fingerprints, which is our biometric watch list, which includes criminal information and other types of databases.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Senator. Go ahead.
Go ahead if it's on that topic.
Well, it sort of is because I hadn't heard that 476 number before, but I think this speaks a bit, Senator Baldwin, to your point about piloting effectiveness, and it's about timing. We're collecting the biometrics now. If the end result of all those things is 476 hits, none for national security concerns, it seems to me that's an awfully small benefit to deploy a worldwide biometric collection system in advance of travel. Right? If that number were, 470,000, and some of those were national security, well, then maybe you could make the argument that it's worth doing this in advance. But if we're doing it already and it's resulting in 476 hits, none of which are for national security, that seems fairly compelling to me that doing it in advance is not going to give us a security benefits.
Again, that's out of 222 million.
Right. We denied entry to over 9,000 Visa waiver travelers last year for a variety of reasons. That was after they arrived and got here. This was after denying 60,000 ESTA applications in advance. So you can see as we pare the numbers down.
Okay, let me follow up on something Senator Portman talked about before about travel, because I've heard a lot of conversation about we'll have a higher priority of focusing on individuals that have traveled to known terrorist safe havens. The term's been thrown around multiple times. It ends up being Iraq and Syria. Now, the challenge there, as Senator Portman mentioned before, very few folks are going into Syria checking documents at the airport and checking in to say, oh, look, your passport's stamped Syria. They're coming in from Lebanon. They're coming in from Turkey. Do you have a sense of confidence that when someone throws around, we're going to try to kick out individuals that have traveled to Iraq and Syria, that we're catching all individuals that have tracked to Iraq and Syria, or that we're not tracking someone that went to Iraq to go visit a dying grandmother that's there, that's a family member? So talk us through the process of how someone would evaluate this person has traveled to a known terrorist safe haven area when we're not getting a passport stamp from Syria.
So we would look at whether or not the intelligence community or the law enforcement community has provided any information to us through their classified holdings that we could bounce our information that we collect on the traveler against that to draw any associations, more than just a name check. If they're using a cell phone or an email address that we could connect to something somebody else picked up that we could relate to that would probably be our most capable way of doing that right now. If they book travel that was continuous through there, or if they had, if they were leaving from the U.S. and going to a certain part of the world for 6 months, 8 months with a return back, and they had certain characteristics, that might also cause us to look closer at that one. That's where I look at the
But someone traveling that's a French national, someone that's a French national traveling to Lebanon and is in Lebanon for 90 days and then returns back to France is not going to show up, and we don't know if that individual crossed the border from Lebanon to go fight in Syria and then crossed back and is now returning.
I don't know.
No, that would not show. I'm not sure.
Right, that wouldn't show
who
up at
would
all.
know that.
It
Right.
might not. It might not. And that there's absolutely, those who seek to enter Syria, knowing that governments are watching out for that, are going to, break their travel. They're going to disguise their travel effectively. So this is why you have to rely upon the intelligence community, which is working cooperatively with partners across Europe to identify those persons that may be suspect in that regard.
Sure. Okay, so that's one area, because we hear that kicked around all the time on that. Then you talk about this reciprocal agreement several times of our relationships and how we're going to other countries and do rigorous, I think, Kelly, you even mentioned rigorous inspections active. Do we have other nations coming and inspecting our facilities and our checking processes that are also coming and doing rigorous checks on us and our systems?
Not even nearly, not close to what we do. I mean, it is not
But it's,
considered a
yes, they do.
national
Other
level.
nations do come check our systems.
No, no.
We don't
they
have
do
anyone that's
not.
doing that?
It's not a requirement. What we do is we offer to share best practices and show how we do things. So we've certainly had our international allies come and have those conversations. These are ongoing dialogues. But no, they have not come in to inspect our facilities and sit in our CBP inspection booths or anything similar.
We're the big dog on the block, Senator Ayotte.